Fuck.
He visually fucking reeks.
You see his hair's always got this like halo of like tiny hairs, like he just hasn't showered in forever. Like,
Ugh.
he nasty. My friend Liz is like obsessed with Post Malone.
Gross. Also, like I had a Post Malone summer like a couple years ago.
Did you ever get how I got with Channing Tatum for Post Malone?
No, dude. Ugh.
Stop it.
No, you got to a dangerous level.
I know. SVU Pod Especially Heinous. I am Gabe.
I'm Tasha.
We are entering into season 2.
We're entering in like it's fucking Narnia. We're at the door of the armoire, you guys.
Yeah. Tomness is waiting.
Here we go. Who?
Tomness?
The only time I ever watched The Chronicles of Narnia was with you, and I don't remember details of it because we just hard made fun of it the whole time.
You grew up Christian though, right? Like me, so you probably read them.
No. I mean, yes to the growing up the way you did, but no to the reading. It was probably too magical for my parents' liking.
Yeah. Tomness was the little pan creature that met him at the armoire outside. He's like the first one that he met. And he's like, oh, hey, welcome to Narnia. This is like the lamp that I hang out next to. And there's going to be some shit about Turkish delights. Don't eat them. Jesus is a lion. It was a Christian.
I didn't know it was even a Christian thing.
Oh, yeah.
Huh.
Jesus is like the lion, the main guy, Aslan.
I guess I don't know anything about the movie at all. Anyway, this is still just like Narnia.
The books, yeah. There's like a whole series of books.
So that means that, what's his name? Tomness.
Yeah.
That's Kragan, because they're basically like leading you through everything. No? Is Kragan the lion?
I think so.
The Jesus?
We can't do this.
Okay.
It's gonna be too much. The Turkish delights are Munch. Wait.
We can't do this.
Tomness is probably Munch.
Is Tomness super annoying?
Does
he know a lot of stuff?
He knows a lot of stuff, and he's like a little shifty, kind of. Whatever. Okay, go.
All right, I'm trying. Give me a fucking second.
Hey, thanks for the tacos, by the way.
You're welcome. Okay, so season 2, episode 1. Fuck, what's it called?
Wrong is right.
Wrong is right. So we open on a beach at sunset. There's some standard early 2000 boy band music playing and a bunch of white kids on the beach awkwardly like bob dancing with one another.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They're just like swinging their arms back and forth, doing the Running Man, but like you're like,
but you're not
like
moving your legs.
Your feet are planted and you're like,
Yeah. Did you just, you're like, yeah, but the girls are wearing like cut off jean shorts and bikini tops, and the boys have like 90s terrible tattoos and
like butt cuts.
Yeah.
So Stabler's oldest daughter, Maureen, she's got a high pony, bikini top, cut off shorts, and a frosted lip for days.
Oh my God. Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. She was living the year 2000.
I fucking hate her.
What?
I just hate Maureen. I just do.
She's dancing with a quote-unquote surfer guy from Central Casting. He has a tattoo. Oh no, here comes Stabes.
This is the best.
He's never looked dorkier or daddier.
It was the most dadly outfit I've ever seen.
He's got on a Tommy Bahama shirt buttoned halfway up, but then he's like got like a gray man tank underneath.
Yeah,
Was he wearing
shorts.
Yeah, cargo shorts
With a cell phone attached to the outside of one of the cargo pockets.
He's a cop, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
What do you expect?
And I swear that he was wearing New Balances. I fucking swear.
Was it with socks, like calf socks?
Yep.
I assumed that he was wearing flip-flops, but I did picture a sock tan line.
Yeah. He rolls up and Maureen catches him and is like, oh God. And like quickly like covers up and like runs over to him.
Yeah, she put on a really cute jacket.
Yeah, it was like a little army jacket. I also hate her for her saying, he's like, you're not getting all Britney Spears on me, the guy. And she's like,
Eartha Kitt.
Yeah, and I was like, no.
Yeah. First of all, I don't get what he means by that. And second of all,
What does she mean by that?
what part of the conversation did we miss that led to like that being an exchange?
Eartha Kitt's not going to wear a frosted lip. So he's picking her up from the beach.
She was not expecting
Yeah,
her
she's
dad.
expecting her mom. Yeah.
You can tell she just wants to get out of there with Staves before he embarrasses her. And he gives her the old school third degree about who this guy is.
Yeah.
His name is Ryan Witherspoon. I doubt that this guy has any kind of deep storyline, but there's never been a name that sounded more fake to me.
Yes.
I love when they're walking away too, and Stabler kind of concedes that he doesn't have control of the situation, and he looks over his shoulder at Ryan and he says, yeah, I guess he's cute.
Well, at first he was like, when did you get out of prison? Because of his armband tattoo. And she's like, actually, he's pre-med. And then he was like, I guess he's kind of cute. Like,
Yeah. Just because you got your wife pregnant with Marine when you were a teenager doesn't mean you have to lock down your daughter's vagina.
Yeah.
I felt like that was a lot of growth for Stabler, though.
Yeah. So then it's nighttime and they're still driving back. I don't know why. I don't know. It must have been like
No, it was
sunset.
it was like dusk. Like the sun
when
was
he was
going
dancing?
down on the beach during their weird dance party.
Yeah.
And so it's pretty dark. They're in the car. It's pretty dark now. And they just have this like father-daughter conversation. He's like, is that a tattoo? And she's like, you have tattoos. It's henna. And it's just like a very typical teen girl and dad conversation. You're such a cop.
I know. I love that part. You're such a cop.
And I'm like, she's right.
Yeah. This whole situation reminded me of like those undercover cops that go to high school that like, that like are obviously like 40, but they're like, hey kids, where's the drugs? And you're like, okay.
That is so funny. This whole episode, I take note of like, okay, I'm just a high schooler. And I'm like, you're just turning 33. Like every single fucking kid in this.
Every teenager is like 40.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's funny because I was doing that too. I was like,
It's very 90210 age group. So they're driving, having this conversation. You can see flashing lights from cop cars up ahead. There's a fire. Stabler's like puts on his cop hat. He pulls over, jumps out of his family vehicle, and tells Marine to stay in the car. He grabs a fire extinguisher from the back of the car and runs off the shoulder of the road to the start of some beach sand. So they're still like driving along the coast, but they're like down the beach a little ways. And he yells out to let the other cops know that he's SVU and begins to extinguish the fire. The cop's like, hurry up, there's somebody under there. And then the cop is like kicking sand on the guy like he's in an old-timey silent film. I'm going to stand up and show you. Hang on. He's like...
it's like kind of doing the Charleston, but kicking up sand.
It's like a little hop and like...
I didn't even see that.
It was bizarre and adorable, and I laughed really hard at it. Oh, so once the fire is completely out, Stabler goes to lift a bed sheet off of the person's face. It's a middle-aged white guy who looks super beat up, and then Stabler hears a gasp. He looks over his shoulder. Oh no, Marine got out of the fucking car.
She's an idiot and didn't listen.
I mean, hello, there's a fucking fire on the beach.
Yeah.
And there's a cop yelling, there's a person under there.
Yeah.
It's like, whatever.
She did this to herself.
Wow.
Sorry.
When you hate somebody, you really go for it.
Listen to your father.
So she gets out and sees it. She starts bawling and he runs up and holds her. Okay, guys, season 2 intro. We've got ourselves a Christopher Maloney. I didn't think it would transition this fast.
Oh, I didn't even catch it.
I did because I was like, I want to see if the intro is any different.
Yeah.
You know, like if it's going to include Ice-T yet or whatever.
Yeah.
And then I saw, boop, Christopher Maloney.
Yeah. They kept the molestation part.
They sure did.
Now we're at the Morris Commission Court. Cragen's there in his like suit, and they're going over the psych reports from last season.
At the end of season 1, Dr. Audrey had sessions with all of the detectives, remember, and found at least one that needed to be released from duty immediately. But it turns out there are 2 that were concerning. So Cragen is there to
Figure out what the fuck's going on.
yeah, and
it's-
get shit
it's-
from the commission.
It's Jeffries and Stabler. They both need formal psych evaluations and formal explanations of what they had said.
Which they fucked around with what they said too.
Yeah, and Cragen is confused because he was like, I thought this was like doctor-patient confidentiality is like paramount. And
I think he's worried about himself and how much he talked about like
his drinking,
his
stuff.
drinking and shit. Yeah,
Well, they would have brought it up.
it's on file now.
And they're like, ADA Cabot is going to adjudicate the cases. And then here's where we finally meet Alex Cabot.
Right.
And she's like a big part of the show for at least a while.
Yeah.
On and off.
Yeah. Well, because what they do in the second season is like there's a different, what's the word? They've reformatted some
Yeah,
things.
they're like, we can't have all these different ADAs coming around
Yeah.
because nobody knows who they are.
From the intro of ADA Alex Cabot, going forward, when they do switch ADAs, it's not like, hey, here's Ariel from The Little Mermaid. Hey, here's this guy that we never met and we have to assume that we know is the ADA or we find out later in the episode. Like it's a much more clear cut.
Yeah. Like they have one
Cast.
ADA for at least a season.
Yeah.
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 That they fuck with.
So-
Cragen's not happy.
He's not. And so ADA Cabot's going to be coming in and making like decisions about what's going to be done with the detectives. And Cragen is like, we don't fucking know you.
Yeah, they walk out of the court together.
Right, but let's introduce Alex Cabot the way she deserves. She is a tall blonde drink of water in a beige skirt suit.
Yeah, all she wears is beige. And it's working.
It works for her. It does.
Yeah. Cabot and Cregan walk out into the like court fucking house area, and he's pushing back and kind of giving her shit, and she's like super chill about it and kind of has like a little half smile on her face. And Cregan walks off and she's like, breakfast then.
Like, he doesn't want to give her the time of day, but like her pushiness was one, it was warranted to get to where she needed to go. I just like respect her as a woman in that position. So she's like, see you tomorrow.
Yeah, she's like not phased at all by like crabby old white guy being crabby and white.
Yeah.
So they're at the precinct. Cregan wants Jeffries in his office. He's pissed.
When he popped out of his office and was like, Jeffries, my office, I was like, whoa, Dad.
Yeah, Dad, what did I do? So he's putting her on fucking desk duty. She is pissed. He's like, you need fucking time to come up with a formal explanation. And he was like, why did you tell them that you slept with a
suspect?
And she's like, I didn't say that. Like, they kind of twist it. That's how he's like, well, that's how they fucking see it. You know, and then she yells, I'm not explaining my sex life to the Morris Commission. And then Cregan yells, that's enough.
Yeah.
You know, he's like, I don't like it either, but yelling at me isn't going to solve anything. She comes out of the office. Stabler walks into the squad room, and he's still wearing the same outfit from the beach.
Yeah.
And then Munch says, Jimmy Buffett in town? Which I thought was funny.
I thought... Thank you.
Yeah.
It was great because he comes in looking like a fucking parrot head for sure.
Yeah.
And Munch is like, I got a good one for this. So Stabler's at his locker chugging some Pepto-Bismol. I don't know what that's about. Well, he has a stressful job.
I was looking at his outfit the entire time. It was like...
I watched it a few times, and then I was like, by the time he's over at the desk after he left his locker, I'm like, is he fucking drinking milk? And so I had to rewind it.
Is there milk in his locker?
So I had to rewind it, and I'm like, oh, it's Pepto-Bismol.
Yeah, so Stabler explains what happened the night before, and he's like, there was a fire and a crotch, and my daughter saw it, and I was just there on scene the whole night.
He goes, turns out to be a body, gunshot wound to the head, flames leaping off the crotch. And I'm like, SVU season 2 is coming in fucking hot. I'm counting that as season 2 missing dick number 1.
Yes,
that counts.
We got to get a little whiteboard.
Yeah. Dick board.
Dick board. He also says that it was a dump job and that he had like a West Side apartment.
Yeah.
So Cregan calls Stabler into the office, like super angry. And Stabler's like, hey, I have to go to a thing. And he's like, no! And he's like, okay. And he's chewing out Stabler and telling him that he has to do some shit because they're inquiring. Stabler's worried that his job is at risk. And Cregan's like,
but then they twisted what he said too. Cregan's like, why the fuck would you tell the shrink that you were fantasizing about killing suspects? They're like 3 inches from each other's face. And Stabes is like, whoa, 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 whoa. I said perp.
Yeah.
Which is a huge distinction. There's a big fucking difference.
Yeah.
So it seems like to me with both Stabler and Jeffries, the commission is painting both of them with pretty broad strokes.
Yeah. And also this is like the first time they're doing this. So it's like they might just be trying to make examples out of like, or just they don't know what they're doing yet because
they're cracking fucking down. I mean, Stabes is annoyed because what the commish says that they're doing is cleaning house, but they're coming after him for his private thoughts is like how he's taking it.
Yeah.
Which is true. I mean, they get into this. They get into, you know, is it crazy to be like, I wish I could murder that fucking guy when you find a girl in a box under his bed? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Amsterdam Apartments. It is here where we are introduced to Olivia Benson's new haircut.
Oh, yeah, the short hair.
It's a look. I would describe it as a grown-out pixie. This is the shortest her hair ever goes.
Is it? Oh.
It is. It's a little mullety in the back, but like on purpose.
It's kind of like a cooler version of the Rachel.
No, I disagree.
Maybe I don't know what the Rachel is.
You can't. The Rachel is more because she does eventually have at some point a Rachel adjacent look. It's very layery and kind of bobbish, like lobbish. But this is more.
Yeah. Well, a shorter version of the Rachel? A grown-up pixie cut. That's better.
Yeah, tomato. But it's a very big look for this time, like this time period that they're in. I'm picturing all of the different celebrities coming on the red carpets, but they've got like lace-trimmed, satiny kind of looks, and then they have this short little do. It's very
that was
coiffed.
like when everybody was pretty much wearing like the silky kind of like lingerie as dresses.
Yeah.
And like butterfly clips and short hair.
And like shirts, like the silky, it looks like lingerie top, but then with like jeans.
Yeah, and like a square toe shoe.
Ew.
And that's open-toed, you know?
Ew. Gross. Like me. I was wearing that shit. Okay, so the victim is Andrew Croft. He's 42, and the dump vehicle may have been a Lexus. There's one registered to the apartment's address, but it's missing. Andrew had just moved there, and he had a new job at Radial Velocity. So Munch goes, edge of the envelope defense contractor. What does he do for them? It's basically they work with the military.
It's a military tech job.
Yeah. He's single. He lived with his 16-ish year old son, Michael, and the neighbors said they argued a lot. And right away, I'm like, yeah, the kid's 16.
Yeah.
Like, who didn't argue with their parents a lot when they were 16?
Right. So they go into the bedroom, and it is like obviously a murder scene.
Fucking blood
He
everywhere.
has mirrors everywhere too, which is gross. That bothered me. I was like, it looks like there's more blood than there is.
It makes the room look bigger.
Yeah. So the son is missing, but they do find some books from MacArthur High, and they are barcoded.
So Stabler's telling Benson about the psych eval shit, and she doesn't get why they're making a big deal out of Stabler saying he thought about killing child molesters. And she's like, they're all cops. Like, they've all seen the shit that we've seen. Like, I don't get it. And Stabler makes the point that they haven't been in the field for a long time.
It's like, when's the last time these people have been in a room like this with blood everywhere? And
Yeah. There was a huge saturated area of blood on the bed, on these like white bed sheets.
particularly the pillow. Yeah.
Yeah. What I would see walking in, myself being a blood spatter analyst, is, oh, this person was shot in the head in bed.
Yeah. That's what the first thing I thought too.
Yeah.
Because I'm Dexter.
Same.
Yeah.
Wait, I'm a good person.
I'm going to kill you. Right is wrong.
Benson and Stabler go to MacArthur High. So Stabler's just going to wear his Miami Vice getup all day then, I guess.
Yeah, whatever.
Like,
it's cool.
they're talking to a school librarian, and they're like, does this book belong to Michael Croft? And she's like, this is Michael Gorin's book. He's absent today. You want to speak to his guidance counselor, Miss Scheida. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I pray to God that this guidance counselor's name is Miss Scheider, and it is.
Yeah, because I wrote it down phonetically because I had no idea what she was saying, and
Yeah.
I listened to it twice, and it was Scheida.
Yeah.
I think.
But when I was watching it with subtitles, it was...
Did your fucking computer just explode?
It said Scheider. And I was like, oh, her accent. He's absent today.
What is that? Like New Jersey, Boston-y? What is that?
I don't know what it is. I don't know if she's probably from like Iowa, and she's like, New York, got it.
The guidance counselor, she's like, I need a release from a guardian to give Benson Stabler the files. They let her know that Andrew Croft, his dad, is dead. He wasn't his father, actually. He was just a guardian. So that's why they have different names. She gives him the file. She doesn't know what happened to his actual parents and that he's a new student and he was born in Belgium. She said he's a really good student but could be doing better, but she feels like he has a lot of pain that makes him gravitate towards troublemakers, particularly Jason Sloan. This fucking guy. This fucking guy.
Oh boy. Benson and Stabler are outside of like an arcade or whatever with obvious teenager and cool guy Jason Sloan.
Obviously teenager, 32-year-old cool guy. That fucking sucked. Sorry.
This guy... This guy has seen his 30th birthday.
Yeah.
If I bet my life on anything, it's that this guy can rent a car without an adult. Like, this guy is not 16 years fucking old.
He has 2 kids that he never sees.
Ever. He's thrice divorced. This guy is the equivalent of Luke Perry in 90210. Like, hey, we're just teenagers in high school doing teenage things. And it's like, dude, you're 40.
Like, your crow's feet are insane. That's not fresh human skin, man.
You can't just put a puka shell necklace on and be a teenager. Although I do love that storyline for like any movie, anything where an adult person goes back to high school. Never been kissed. I have seen 150 times. So Jason Sloan says that he and Michael aren't close, but they were like kind of friends. And Michael would stay at his house as much as he could to quote unquote stay away from the creep. Jason tells them that he saw Andrew hit Michael and that Andrew was a total dickhole. He didn't give a shit when they told him that Andrew was dead, by the way.
He just said, excellent.
Yeah. He says Michael had other friends and that some girl used to call him from wherever. And he doesn't know where Michael is.
Yeah.
And he goes, I'd love to help you do your job, but I'm a high school student.
Actually, the entire time he's talking to them, he's looking behind at these girls' butts.
Yeah.
Then he fucking legitimately turns around and like slaps this girl's butt, but like in a dumb way.
Like a little
Like
pop.
he just pushed it. He's like pushing one of those things across the street. You know what I mean?
bloop. Jeffries and Munch walk into Radio Velocity Incorporated, Andrew's work. They're greeted by Uncle Frank from Home Alone and Home Alone 2, Lost in New York. He introduces himself as Craig Prince, Andrew Croft's supervisor. Next to him is Ralph Noble, his security. There's a cart of files he's handing over from Croft's office, and he says it's everything that's not classified. And it turns out there's a bunch of shit that's classified, including any personal information, next of kin, whatever.
He's like, here's some papers for you guys to throw away.
Yeah. But Munch threatens a court order, and Kevin's smug-ass cheapskate uncle says, well, you can try. Munch hates him.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah. So they're in the squad room. Munch is pissed because Radio Velocity had redacted 1,200 pages of stuff that they gave him.
So as he's bitching about all of the redactions, Cragen walks up and reminds him it's national security and just kind of shrugs. And Munch thinks it's a conspiracy. They're dealing with a murder and the victim's missing son. And he's like, it's too convenient. There's something else going on here. Mm-hmm. And everybody's like, okay, Munch.
Yeah. Olivia's kind of giving him a little bit of shit. And then Munch gets on the phone with some dude. He was like, I want to see you now. And they meet by the Brooklyn Bridge. So they're at the Brooklyn Bridge, him and this guy. The way the camera panned around him, I think we were all supposed to know who he was. Like, I think that maybe he was like a bigger actor then or something.
I thought he was supposed to be shrouded in secrecy is like why they had a screenshot like that. But this guy is dressed like a Midwest dad at Thanksgiving. Just so much taupe. He's just like head to toe taupe.
Head to taupe. It was right there for you.
Why did you not? Well, I was just going to say, I can't believe I missed that. Head to taupe.
That's like when I was like, oh, I see a picture. I gave my friend that fucking other bookend that was the boat. Mm-hmm. And this has killed me to this day. I think about it like in the shower.
I've heard this from you.
Where there's a picture of it on MySpace or something. And it was like, oh, there's our awesome little friendship boat.
Friendship.
I know. It like haunts me.
Oh, I mean, it's not even a good joke and it still haunts you.
Maybe that's why I'm bad at relationships and have low self-esteem. It all stems from that. And I'm like, Gabe, you ain't shit and you'll never be shit. It's a friendship. Friendship boat? Like, come on. Okay, so they're at the Brooklyn Bridge. Munch is like, who the fuck are these guys? Who is Craig Prince?
Anyway, I think this guy is Munch's contact in internal affairs.
Yeah, I was like wondering if he was like some contact in feds because the guy was like, yeah, we've been watching them. The guy said Craig Prince, he's a suit and they've been looking into him because he lives way beyond his means, thinking maybe there's like kickbacks and stuff.
Yeah.
Then he asked about Andrew Croft and the guy's like, oh, he's a missile geek, but has nothing on him. Like he's a black hole.
Right.
And he said that the government will pay anything for guiding systems in missiles that are so precise. And this guy is huge. Andrew Croft was a main dude in that stuff.
Yeah.
And they'll do that to the point of like erasing people's pasts to get these guys. So they're thinking Andrew Croft had like, because there's nothing on him that he had a past. And
he had to have had a sketchy past, but because he can basically thread the eye of a needle with a missile, they're going to clear that shit out.
Yeah.
So now Munch is even more like, what the fuck is going on here? We cut to Stabler at home, shaving. He hears Maureen scream. He runs to her room, and she's having a nightmare about what she saw. Like, we keep going back to this, like, little thread of Maureen was disturbed by getting out of her car after her dad told her to stay in there.
Is this why she's bipolar later?
How dare you?
Sorry.
So now we're on a beautiful New York City restaurant rooftop patio with Cabot and Cragen. And I'm like, fuck, I want to do that.
Brunch.
I want to go have fucking brunch.
Yeah, dude. She's holding her glass of orange juice.
Mimosa.
I know.
Oh, wait, no, she's a profesh.
Yeah, that's why
no
I was like,
in there.
I was like, she's holding her glass of orange juice like she's never had a mimosa before and only wears nude underwear. Gross. Yeah, I knew that was going to be good. And then Cragen, I don't know if you caught this, but Cragen just said he doesn't vote.
Yeah. And I'm like, yeesh, that was a different time.
Yeah. It's like, I used to. He's not happy and he doesn't think
I hate anybody who doesn't vote based on like this principle. It's so fucking narcissistic.
Yeah, I know.
Fucking vote, you asshole.
Yeah.
Or go somewhere where you can't vote. I don't fucking know. Now I'm like, get out of the country.
So he's not happy and he doesn't think he should trust her. And then she says, quote, I intend to stand on your shoulders to reach a broader constituency. Why would I do anything to shorten my grasp? Super honest. Fucking Cragen likes it.
She pretty much says, fucking you over would fuck me over and I'm not a short-sighted idiot. And he immediately changes his tone.
Yeah. And then she takes a drink of her fucking orange juice. Like, oh, just watch it.
I think Cragen not only appreciates her honesty, but he also appreciates her confidence and he pulls a huge file of their open cases from God knows where, because he walked up
From
like
his pants.
I think he came to this restaurant early, put it under the table, just like in
Like
those
duct
mafia
tape.
movies where they would like put a gun under a table before a meeting.
He's got one hand on the files the whole time they're talking. They're at the squad room. Jeffries tells everybody that the ME got back to them. Andrew was shot behind the left ear by a .38 slug, point blank. The crotch was set on fire post-mortem. Michael is still missing, so is the gun, and Andrew's Lexus is still gone.
And I like that they like went through the explanation of it. I know that they have to do it, but I'm like, yeah, we saw a gallon of blood on his sheets and Andrew on fire at the beach. Like,
Got it. He's dead. Yeah.
we get it.
So Munch tells him about how he went to go see his dude in the Brooklyn Bridge, and Prince is being looked in for kickbacks, and maybe this was all an assassination thing. Him and Olivia kind of get into this little like, she's like, you're always thinking it's a conspiracy, and he was like, you don't think stuff like that can happen? They're about to get into it, but Craig gets them back on track. He's like, he thinks the relationship between Andrew and Prince warrants more investigation, but they still have a missing kid, and until he knows otherwise, he's going to assume the kid is still alive. So Craig sends Benson and Stabler to look for the kid, and Jeffries and Munch to make 88 Cabot get a search warrant for radial velocity.
So Cragen sends Munch and Jeffries to put Cabot to the test. Can she obtain a warrant for radial velocity? It sounds like an insane ask since everything's confidential as fuck over there. She goes, you want me to secure a search warrant for the offices of a defense contractor to search classified national security files for evidence in a sexually motivated homicide?
While she's slowly moving towards the phone.
She's like, got the phone to her ear, and she asks for the office of Judge Harriman, and she gets through, and she's like, Uncle Bill. Turns her back, and I'm like, ah!
And then Jeffries and Munch are like, hey.
And yeah, and they look at each other like, look at this shit.
Yeah. Because they kind of came in that office too, like, we don't know her, you know?
Yeah.
She's throwing her dick around, and it is huge.
It's huge, and it's wearing a beige skirt suit.
It's just like...
Next scene, bam, that warrant gets slapped on Uncle Frank's desk. I'm just going to call him Craig Prince. I kept going back to wanting to call him Uncle Frank. But Craig Prince is very flustered and pissed that they have this warrant. Munch wasn't satisfied with the first warrant slap, so he picked up the warrant and slaps it down again. And these cops just start clearing out Craig's.
Yeah, he's like, are you fucking kidding me? And Munch was like, you told me to try.
And so then these cops just start clearing out Prince's desk and shit.
Mm-hmm. They're back in the squad room. They located Andrew's Lexus in upstate New York in Millbrook.
Outside Poughkeepsie.
Yeah, outside Poughkeepsie.
Oh, that was where Croft transferred from.
Oh, he was that.
They were in Millbrook before they came to the city. Did you miss a part? And now it makes a lot more sense.
So I was like, why is this kid fucking hanging out at Millbrook? Why is he at Millbrook High? He's supposed to be in McCart.
Yeah.
I didn't realize he transferred like 3 feet away.
Yeah. So the Lexus has been located. It's upstate outside of Poughkeepsie in Millbrook. They've got local cops watching the car before Benson and Stapes can get up there. The detectives get up to Millbrook to get the car. It's parked on the street in front of a quaint little house, and Stabler sees blood on the trunk, so they pop it. The local cop struts up, and he's a real Barney Fife looking motherfucker, right? Like thumbs in the belt loops.
Like, nobody's home.
Yeah. He says nobody's in the house, but it belongs to Richard and Darlene Sadler, and they own a hardware store. Their daughter Denise goes to the high school in town. Oh, the girl who called Andrew from wherever that the obviously teenaged cool guy told us about.
Yeah, the butt pusher guy.
There's a bunch of blood in the trunk and a gun. Mm-hmm. Stabler and Benson then go off to Adams High School. There's a lot of walk and talks this episode, and they're walking and talking with the principal.
Literally.
What?
This is funny. I just clocked the walking and talking thing, and I was like, they're walking and talking with the principal.
Yeah, they're walking and talking with the principal while he wields his powers in the halls of the school. Denise is in class. He says Michael's a great kid, but he's not missing. He's in the school mentoring program. What? They go to find Michael, the high schooler.
Who's fucking 40. This kid is 40 years old. They find Michael doing sports with kids who have Down syndrome. Michael says this is about Andrew, isn't it?
Yeah, dude.
He has like Ray Liotta eyes, though. You notice that? Those
No,
eyelashes and like...
I mean...
When he was crying, you could see it better. That sounds weird, but...
Yeah, Ray Liotta has like constant water eye. You know, they're always glossy looking.
It almost looks like he's wearing eyeliner because his... Yeah, this guy had like amazing eyelashes.
Yeah, he did. I did like a huge deep dive on this actor.
Really?
Yeah, just because I was like, you look fucking familiar, but he kind of had like a Jared Leto vibe as well.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm like
a young, yeah.
But he's not like huge or anything. But he's been in a bunch of stuff. I'll get there. So he's like, oh, you hear about Andrew? And I'm like, yeah, dude, you roasted his dick off and you're driving his car around full of fucking evidence. Like,
right, yeah.
Yeah, we're here about Andrew.
Yeah. They make a little like makeshift interrogation room in a classroom. He wants to talk. He's like, they're like, you can have your lawyer be here or whatever. And he's like, no, I'll talk. He straight up says he killed him.
And
Benson
Olivia's like,
does like a fucking
spins on her heel.
yeah. Michael says Andrew hit him and he hit him back and they got into a fight. And Michael said Andrew went nuts and grabbed his gun. And then Andrew said he was going to kill him. And they wrestled and the gun went off and Andrew was dead.
So he wrapped him up in a sheet, put him in the trunk, and he goes, next thing I knew, I was driving home. So there are a lot of holes in this story, but that's what he gives them in that moment.
Oh, yeah, that's right, because Stabler and Benson were kind of shooting each other looks like something's up, you know? So they handcuff him and they take him out of the school and like the entire student body is there like, no, Michael! And then there's like, this teacher with like crazy bangs that was like, this can't be right. Not Michael. Like the worst acting ever.
You got really Moira Rose there.
Did I?
Yeah.
Let me see if I can do it again. This can't be right. No, I can't. Okay, so they're in the squad room. Munch is going through these papers still, and Cragen's like, what are you doing? We have a confession already. And Munch is not buying that they just got into a fight and it was an accidental kill.
It's too tidy, he says.
Yeah, especially because Michael fucking lit Andrew's crotch on fire.
Yeah, Stabes calls the fire crotch a sexually... Stabes calls the fire crotch a sexually motivated homicide.
Yeah.
So Munch thinks that Andrew was molesting Michael, and that's why he killed him.
Yeah.
Munch knows there's something in these classified documents. Radio Velocity is hiding something. Stabes has to go meet with Skoda, the J.K. Simmons shrink.
Yeah.
Stabes walks in, and Skoda is dressed like a JV football coach. Polo golf tee, khakis. I'm like,
wait,
where's your turtleneck, bruh?
You explained to him, right? That he was from the episode with the... Okay.
Yeah, J.K. Simmons shrink. You're like the only person that doesn't like hard know who J.K. Simmons is, by the way. Like I was listening to it. I'm like, why didn't I jump all over the fact that you were like, oh yeah, this guy's from Oz. It's like, it's J.K. fucking Simmons. He was in Whiplash.
I don't think I've ever seen Whiplash.
He's played everybody's dad. He's the we are farmers guy.
Yeah.
He's that guy.
I didn't catch the Home Alone guy either. I don't remember what he looked like.
Oh, the second I saw him come on screen, I FaceTimed Gabe the second that
I went along with
Uncle
it. I was
Frank
like,
came
yeah,
on.
yeah, but I had no idea what's going on.
Oh, I mean, thanks for going along with it because I was
were so
so
excited.
full of joy about it. I'm like, I Googled it and it was him. So Stabes doesn't want to talk because he's pissed that Dr. Audrey tattled on him. And Skoda says they're obligated to report if they think someone will do violence to someone. And Stabler goes, I've never done violence to anyone. Eyebrows up, finger point down,
Yeah.
tiny nod.
Yeah. It was pretty funny because that's obviously not true.
And that's not a sentence.
Yeah.
I've never done violence to anyone.
Yeah. The dude's like, come on, man.
Yeah.
He's
So
like, we know each other. Give me the benefit of the doubt.
for sure. So Skoda calmly gets him to talk, and Stabler goes off about this case and how he had fantasized about feeding the perp his gun, and then he met him, and he's like, he's a good kid, straight A's, a star athlete who mentors kids with Down syndrome. He's trying to make sense of the crime. Skoda's like, you know, you've been on the force for 14 years.
What murders have ever made sense? He's like, some I like kind of get why it happened, but like most of them don't make sense.
He's like, why did this one get under your skin? And he's like, this one my daughter saw. Stabler enters the squad room. Munch and Benson are there, but Jeffries is talking to the shrink now. So while Stabes was busy, Munch got Benson to get a conspiracy hard on with him. They took prints on the corpse of Andrew Croft and ran them in NCIS. You know what's weird? Is that stands for more than one thing because there's something about NCIS in my chaser too. So this NCIS is the National Crime Information Center, I guess. So there was nothing to prove he had ever existed prior to 1991 when he was hired at Radio Velocity.
Yeah.
But they found a passport in the warrant shit that they found issued 10 years prior in San Diego. They had it run and got a hit. George Kaczynski is Andrew Croft's real name and is a convicted sexual predator. Little George liked little boys. This whole time, Stabler is saying nothing with his mouth, but everything with his eyes. His brows are in his hairline. He is shocked.
They're furrowed as fuck.
Yeah, it's like this.
It's like, great, another one.
His eyebrows were like, like
Climbing the ladder.
cartoon brows.
Captain Crunch, his like eyebrows were in his hat.
Okay, so now
Basically, Andrew Croft has been busy.
Yeah.
11 arrests, 5 aliases, and 4 convictions.
Yeah.
They tracked him because San Diego PD faxed them his rap sheet, and he just followed all the priors back.
So Munch goes on about the military-industrial complex and why they were capable of erasing his file. Cragen's all worried because going up against the feds is insane, but he's down to back Munch, which I like.
Yeah. So only the feds can erase a file, and radio velocity is the feds.
Yeah.
Cragen is like, if you're going to accuse the federal government of sanctioning the sexual abuse of a child, please tell me you have a fucking motive.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So next, Munch and Stabler are at the desk of Craig Prince. Remember, head of Radio Velocity / Uncle Frank.
Okay.
Next to Prince stands his security officer. We met him prior, Ralph Noble. Munch shows every time I say Prince, like I use their last names.
It sounds like you're saying prints, like fingerprints, right?
Oh, I just pictured like Prince in like a full purple velour suit. And like a ruffly undershirt. He's like, where did you get these? So Munch shows Prince the documents that prove Andrew Croft has this terrible history. And he's like, where did you get these? And Munch is like, that's classified. And
that's class. I wish she talked like a teenage girl in the 90s or the early
For Munch?
2000s, yeah.
That's classified. And like the building basically just set on fire with the level of burn that Munch just got on Uncle Frank.
Yeah.
Also, Munch has never come harder than in that fucking moment when he got to say that guy. Like he was on the drive over and he's like, oh my God, I hope he asks where I got these from. Cause I'm going to be like, your mom. No, I'm going to be like, that's classified. Yeah. Cause yes.
Your mom. No. That's fucking classified.
I just busted my zipper because that was such a sweet word.
Keep going.
Okay, that's classified.
Cream his pants.
So then Munch goes on to give his thoughts on motive. Croft was insanely good at missile placement, like amazingly and uniquely good. Mm-hmm. And the government was willing to overlook the fact that he was a monster so they could use him. Munch goes, couldn't let a little thing like pedophilia get in the way of national security.
And then Prince is like, there's a lot of things that take a backseat to national security, but if he would have known, he would have never hired him. And Munch says, right, like there was no Nazis in NASA.
Yeah.
And then I wrote boom after that. It's not. Munch is kind of antagonizing the security guard, Mr. Noble. The dude is a war hero, and Munch can't figure out why he's protecting a pedophile and Prince.
Yeah. Noble takes it like Munch is challenging his patriotism, and he's super offended by it. Oh my God, I didn't even mention this whole time that fucking Stabler was there. Stabler's there, too. He's not doing anything but like eyebrows in his hairline
and like
watching Munch go for it.
Yeah.
So Stabler's there just kind of like backing up Munch, which is great because now like the whole team is behind him. Mm-hmm. So Munch has this like conversation with Noble where he's sort of antagonizing him as Noble is walking them to the elevator. Mm-hmm. So then Stabler and Munch get on the elevator and Stabler's like, why are you provoking him? And Munch says that Noble is a war hero and has strong moral convictions that die hard. He doesn't think that he would protect Radio Velocity if they were knowingly covering for a child molester. So he still has the intention of working on Noble. He thinks that there's more to it. Mm-hmm. That
it's like Noble knows some shit.
He knows some shit, but is kind of like innocent and being lost in it. Like he's covering something that he has too much integrity to cover if he knew all the details.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so now they're at Rikers Island because they're like, we gotta fucking talk to Michael Moore about like why he's with
Michael Moore. We gotta fucking talk to Michael Moore, and he's like, hey. Got a hat on.
You're like, get out of here. We didn't ask for you.
Have you seen Bowling for Columbine?
Like, yes.
God, we all have.
Was it Benson and Stabler that were there? Because I didn't.
Grinding on the security officer. That is not what I meant.
The Rikers Island.
Yeah, Benson and Stabler, yeah.
So Benson and Stabler are talking to Michael and Rikers, trying to figure out like what the fuck's going on and what happened to his parents and stuff. So Michael says his parents died in a car wreck when he was 8, and the only person that could take care of them was Nana, and she was really old, and Andrew offered to help take care of Michael. So Michael and his dad worked at NATO in Brussels. Andrew would come to Michael's soccer practices, and Michael's dad was a janitor at NATO and like was really proud to have like a rocket scientist as his buddy. Mm-hmm. So Andrew took an interest in Michael and got him all sorts of sports lessons, like, and said he was like a natural athlete, stuff like that his family couldn't afford, like sailing and stuff. So Andrew took him like all over the world kind of until they finally went to Melbrook. Michael had actually made friends and got a girlfriend. Stabler tells Michael that in 1990 Andrew was convicted of sexually assaulting an 11-year-old boy, and Michael said he didn't know anything about that.
Stabler gets a little like really confronty here. here. It's
Yeah,
like,
he's like, I don't have time for this. He's like, so just tell me when was the first time Andrew assaulted you?
yeah,
And Michael's like, he didn't touch me. And he was very adamant about it.
super agitated.
Yeah. Benson and Stabler think that Michael's hiding something because you don't volunteer to do hard time unless you're afraid of somebody else that has more sway.
Michael's lawyer is there the whole time during this questioning. When the detectives leave, Michael's nerdy munch and training lawyer says it looks like he can use the EED defense, the extreme emotional disturbance defense. So Benson to Stabler is like, what the fuck, dude? Like, why are you giving him all of this ammo? Like, we're with the prosecution. We arrested this guy. And it just doesn't sit right with Stabler that Michael is willing to do hard time because he's embarrassed. They speculate that maybe Andrew had an accomplice, somebody that scares Michael more than Andrew. And I'm like, oh boy, I see where this is going. But yeah, I think it's really important to note that Stabler was like, I need him to say that something bad happened. Like, I know something happened to him for this to be the case. I'm not just going to throw this kid away.
Right.
Again, I kept fucking forgetting because I would look at people's faces and be like, all right, here's the perp. And it's like, no, this adult man is pretending to be 16. They're supposed to be like, oh, empathy for like a young teenager. I have to remember that this guy is a teenager.
Right. Not Steve Buscemi in a teenager mask. So they're outside. Munch confronts the that security guy, Mr. Noble.
Yeah.
Outside of the Radial Velocity building.
New York City streets walk and talk.
And he's like, why are you hiding Andrew's past? And the guy said that they erased Andrew's past convictions because every time Andrew crossed a border to do work, it would raise red flags, and every minute counted during the Gulf War. And he was crucial to the military at the time with his ability to, like you said, thread the needle.
Right, the smart bomb technology.
Yeah.
It wasn't about protecting him.
It was like, we just need to get him in and out and like get moving, and he can't be stopped at every border. They like erased this thing, like built a firewall around Andrew Croft during the war, and it never came down. He's like, I don't know why.
It was supposed to come down after like his duties.
Yeah, and while the firewall was up was when Andrew applied for the guardianship of Michael.
Right.
And no flags went up because he doesn't have a record at the time.
And Noble looked like really...
He was like, I don't know why it would come back down like it should have.
Yeah, that hit him, I think.
Yeah.
But it was like, yeah, and then he got guardianship of an 8-year-old boy. Now you fucking know what happened to him.
Yeah.
So we're in ADA Cabot's office, and it's like a close-up of Alex Cabot looking over the info on Croft as Cragen and Stabler look on. And I laughed because she's reading it, and she goes... My God. Like my mom catching me watching South Park when I was 12.
Right. Yeah. She was like super grossed out.
Yeah. She pages for whoever to get her in touch with someone at the Department of Justice, and Cragen's like, what the fuck, lady? He doesn't want a federal case made out of it.
ADA Cabot wants to make it a federal case. They think she needs to think about Michael and like what's going on with him. And she's like, dude, he denies being sexually assaulted by Andrew Croft. There's no evidence to contradict that denial. And Cragen's pissed. Cabot's like, I'm 100% certain he was abused, but with his denial, there's no evidence that there was any abuse. And there's nothing that she can do.
Yeah.
So Stabler's like, you're fucking protecting your stats as a lawyer. And
Yeah, your win-lose average.
he's like, you're protecting your win-lose. He like fired some shots. Cragen's like, calm down. And then Cabot turns around and says, it's okay, because he's stressed out about his psych stuff, and that Michael got away with doing what Stabler has always fantasized about, and that's killing a perpetrator.
And I'm like, this is some Real Housewives level shade. Meg's going to get this, and anybody else who loves SVU and Bravo programming. Cragen in this moment is Andy Cohen, and this is the reunion.
I don't know.
I know you don't.
That's
This laugh
Meg.
isn't for you.
Okay. Serious shots fired, and I'm fucking like, hats off to you, Cabot, for like being calm and being like, no, dude.
Yeah.
You know, on his Stabler's face too, the way it dropped after she said that, I was like, oh shit. But Cragen stands with Stabler on this, and she puts her like Michelle Obama arms on her desk to get up. Did you notice that?
She's ripped.
Yeah. And she's like, dude, this kid had choices instead of murder, but she's gonna go for it. Either he corroborates the abuse or she goes for murder too.
Yeah. Hard-ass DA or heartless and dead inside.
Yeah. Okay.
So Benson and Stabler are back with Michael in an interrogation room, and they're gently trying to coax an admission out of him.
Michael's not into it.
Nope, he flips out and says he can't and begs them to just let him go to jail and leave him alone. It's like, what the fuck? Cabot and Cragen are on the other side of the glass. Cabot's like, I have to go with murder too. And they all just want to protect him. And she's like, ugh. Like, her hands are tied. She has to do her fucking job.
Yeah.
Staves is at home in the kitchen. It's the middle of the night. He's always wearing a tank top. Like, if he's not at work, this guy is in a tank top.
Real cop stuff.
Maureen comes down and says she's not sleeping, and they have a really tough conversation.
Do you see how that she just started instantly like making him a sandwich though?
Was she making him a sandwich or was she making herself a sandwich?
No, because she pushed it over to him and he picked it up at the end.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah.
Ew.
It had a ton of tomatoes, very little mustard, but like an entire garden of lettuce. She just kept doing this. It was because I watched this twice and I kept saying like, what kind of fucking this sandwich is like, what are we in a fucking deli? Like this is huge. And why are you whatever.
Like I watched her cut the tomato and I was like, watch your fingertips, dude. You need to curl the end of your fingertips. But beyond that, I didn't really watch the sandwich making because she was being a fucking cunty little bitch.
God, I hate her.
Oh,
I can't wait for the episode where she runs her car into that wall.
So stop. You're terrible. So they have a really tough conversation and Stabler puts on his dad cape. She asks about Michael and what he did to Croft. And Stabler said that he was terribly abused by someone who was supposed to take care of him and Michael had had enough. Stabler says Michael's going to go to prison and he wishes that he would just tell the truth. And Maureen tells him that kids don't want to talk to grown-ups because they're always judging them. So they just talk to their friends. And he's like, what if they don't have any friends? And she's like, everybody's got friends, Dad. And he asks who she talks to and he's like, Ryan Witherspoon. And this little fucking bitch.
I know.
She goes, more than you talk to Mom. And I'm like, what did you say, you smug little bitch? I would lose it.
I wrote like 15 O's. I was like, yeah, and he just like takes it.
It doesn't say anything. This guy is
I wonder
riding a hair fucking trigger in every other scenario. So now we go to like the pre-trial. ADA Cabot is questioning Dr. Taylor, who is our Emmy from The Wire. Mm-hmm. She asks him to lay out what happened forensically, and he said it was impossible for Croft to have shot himself in a struggle for the gun. He was shot from 3 or 4 feet away and had no residue on his own hands at all. Stabler is then on the stand describing the crime scene, and there's this quick pan up from the stenographer's hands, and she's got some spread your fingers flat to be able to type nails on.
Dude. Megan clocked that said too. She's like, that's me if I was.
And I said, that's my kind of girl. That's like, that was me as I was typing my shit. So then it's Benson's turn, and that's not really, it's being made very clear that this is cut and dry, easy peasy. Michael is gonna go to prison, right? After the questioning, Stabes asks Benson to go up to Millbrook with him. His conversation with Maureen got him thinking. Mm-hmm. You see, she is good for...
Who cares? Okay, they're at Adams High School. Benson and Stabler talking to Michael's girlfriend, Denise, who's at least 42.
Yeah, oh my God. She's wearing like a babushka. She has
like a bandana around her head, and
she's the one at the PTA meeting that's like, I'll head that up.
Yeah.
Like, you're not 16.
Right.
Denise. No one who's ever been 16 has been named Denise.
No, your name is Sarah for that year.
You're born Aunt Denise or you've never existed.
I have an Aunt Denise.
I bet.
So Denise says that they were dating about 3 months. Oh, and they ask her if Michael had ever talked about Andrew, and she starts to kind of get upset. She says they didn't get along, and Denise's parents let him stay in their spare bedroom, and Michael would sometimes lie about Andrew being gone sometimes so he didn't have to go home.
Yeah.
Her parents liked him a lot. Andrew never really objected to Michael staying over after that thing with Danny Barrel, and they're like...
Danny Burrell.
Oh, I knew when I typed it, I was like, don't write Barrel because you're going to fucking say it. And I did. They asked...
Danny Barrel. Why do they call him that? And then they cut to him and he's a fucking rodeo clown. Oh.
Or he is a barrel. He just has a couple
Danny
eyeballs. And like stick arms. He looks really sad in my picture. A human barrel. Oh.
The metal part that goes around the middle, the widest part of the barrel is like his mouth, and he's like, hey guys.
Like, say it, don't spray it, barrel. Hold on. So they're like, well, who the fuck is Danny Burrell? Shut up.
It's so stupid.
Stop it. So they're like, who the fuck is Danny Burrell?
Who is he?
Who is Danny Burrell and what happened? Danny Burrell was Michael's best friend. One day they were best buds and the next they hate each other. And she didn't know why.
Yeah, she didn't know the details, but was like, something happened. And they're like, thanks, Denise.
Thanks, Aunt D.
So Benson and Stabes walk in on wrestling practice. Danny Burrell is a Jesse Metcalf / Justin Bieber pre-tiny mustache type. Mm-hmm. As an actor, his name is Paul Wesley. He comes back to SVU as another dude in 2005.
Cool.
By the way, why did I look him up? because he was attractive. And you know what? I can say that because he guaranteed was not a fucking teenager.
Yeah.
He's an adult man.
Yeah, there was man bulges all over that fucking...
Singlet.
Yeah.
So he's hesitant to talk to the detectives, so they go...
I know.
So they go, they can't look at you. So they go somewhere comfortable for him, an empty baseball field. Stabes comes straight with it. Did Andrew Croft attack you? And Danny's like, ugh, Michael swore he wouldn't say anything. Danny says he'll talk to Stabes and not Olivia. And that is the first authentic teenager thing we've seen in this episode of 25-year-old juniors.
Yeah. Did you notice, though?
Olivia I didn't make a note about it, but I knew you were going to bring it up.
Yeah, it was... Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, during this whole like really intimate conversation of Danny then being vulnerable to Stabes, Olivia's like, you can see her like way far fuzzy in the background climbing up the bleachers, and then she just kind of hunkers down and watches
for this like 3-minute conversation. And then what is Stabler going to be like? Olivia, we're done. She's like, oh, okay.
She does the wave.
It's just her like every 20 seconds she does it again.
Danny tells Stabler a story. He and Michael were playing ball, went back to Michael's to clean up. Andrew was supposed to be gone, so Danny used his shower. When he got out, Andrew was standing outside the shower, naked, touching himself. Andrew grabbed him, and Danny fought him off. He took off out the bathroom, and Michael was just standing there, and that pissed Danny off.
Because when he saw Andrew freaking jerking it, he was like, Michael! He like yelled like for him.
Oh, yeah,
And Michael didn't come, so he assumed he didn't hear him, and he runs out. Michael's like right there. And he's like, what the fuck?
And he also thought it was gross that Michael and Andrew were doing that shit together, but he assumed that if Michael didn't like it, he could have easily made him stop. He's like, Michael was 6 feet tall and he benched 220 pounds. Stabler's like, hey, you little shit ass. It was happening to him since he was 8. And he's like, nice best friend turning on his bud like that.
Yeah. It's like, who is he going to turn to when his best friend won't talk to him? Like, what the fuck?
I mean, but also, this is just, again, I'm like, picking apart shit, but it's like, okay, so Andrew groomed Michael from when he was 8, but then, like, he just thinks that a random teenager that comes over is gonna fuck him? Like, I don't get it.
Yeah.
Like, you're not even gonna be like, hey, you want to stay for pizza? Or, like, any other kind of groomy shit? I don't know. Yeah. You know what I mean? Was that disgusting that I said that?
Like,
I don't know.
Hey, you got a whole bunch of video games.
Yeah.
Take off your pants or whatever. Like,
or like, you guys want to stay here and drink some alcohol because you're 16 and clearly not adults? Like, like, why? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
That he's just like...
And then Danny Barrel's like, yep, I'll go get it. I'll go get the booze. Because I can. Because I'm fucking 42.
Because I'm a barrel.
Because I'm a barrel. I've been cursed. I'm a human barrel. And I won't change until I find my one true love.
So off to the liquor store I go.
Boop, 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 boop.
I pictured it. He's like, coming up on a hill. And he just
rolls down.
I used to work at Niagara Falls. They called me the barrel boy.
I was the number one barrel this side of the Mississippi.
There's a whole like Forrest Gump style movie about Danny Barrel. And he's like, I worked at Jack Daniels for a time being, and then
but in the like the preview, it's like a barrel with like a helmet on, running, trying to catch a football. You know, everybody's like, "What?" Him next to Nixon. Run, barrel, run! So stupid.
Just a barrel's little stick arm touching Jenny's boob in college.
It only has like 3 fingers.
Like a little white cartoon glove.
Seats taken. Like, oh my God, somebody make the barrel sit down. He's huge. We're in a school bus. Like,
he can't even get through the doors. Are you kidding me?
It's like, I'm 10 and I have to turn sideways. This barrel can't turn sideways. Like, can we move on? Yes. They're in the grand jury room. Michael's on the stand and Cabot is questioning him. He's still standing by that he killed him. But she's like, there's no trace of gunpowder on the deceased hands. She asked if he witnessed Andrew sexually assaulting Danny Burrell. Mm-hmm. Michael denies it. Cabot explains that Danny will testify that Andrew did not, in fact, sexually assault him, and Michael saw. So Michael starts to admit that he was assaulted, and so was Danny. He's like getting upset, and he's just like, you don't understand.
She's like in his face now, and she's like, you shot him to get him to stop molesting testing you.
And he's like, no, I hated it, but I was used to it.
Yeah.
He's like, I shot him because Andrew started bringing over his friend. And everybody's kind of like, what?
Yeah.
And he said Andrew would bring a guy over sometimes and make Michael do stuff with him. He's like, I thought it was over when they moved from Millbrook.
Yeah.
He's like, but they actually moved right across the fucking street from the guy. And when he came home from school, the guy was just there. And he like begged them not to. And the ADA keeps asking, like, who is it? And he's scared. He's like, he'll kill me. Cabot says, like, he can't get to him. And Michael is like, you don't know the power this guy has.
Yeah, she's like, you're in our hands right now.
Yeah.
He can't get to you.
She says that a child molester only has power if his secret is kept, and that if he tells the truth, the power is gone.
Which is like, I wish we could instill that in every fucking child. Like, if it was just like a thing that we could make kids know.
Yeah.
Fuck.
So he admits it's fucking Craig Prince.
Head of radial velocity, remember?
Yes. Yeah. He's like, they killed that boy in Belgium, and he heard them talking about it, and no one did anything. And Cabot is like, what? When? What boy? It was in the paper in Belgium when Michael was 8. He says Craig Prince can get away with anything. Oh my God. So they're at fucking radial velocity. Munch and Stabler bust into a meeting. They handcuff him in front of all of his fucking people and tell him he's under arrest for sexual abuse, sodomy, assault, and endangering the welfare of a child. They're reading him his rights, and the security guard guy is just sitting there like, well, I don't know how some people don't get arrested for fucking knowing stuff.
Yeah.
Whatever. So they're at the Morris Commission's court. Cragen comes up to the table where all the whole panel is sitting and starts setting down pictures of victims and like saying like, this person was, raped and blah, blah, blah. This person didn't make it.
And the
he's
photos
like,
were like super graphic.
yeah, he's like trying to remind them what they used to do and why the job can be so hard and cause stress and why detectives think and feel stuff, Cragen asks, is there anyone on this panel that doesn't feel Detective Stabler's anger for these perpetrators? So Cragen's like, Stabler's a good cop. Cragen stands with him and every good cop that faces these horrors day after day and has the strength to have their impulses in check.
Yeah.
Where is this same support for fucking Jeffries?
Don't even fucking... I'm waiting to see if we see anything else play out because Jeffries, this is not her last episode, but she gets fucked over. This fucks her. Like, I agree with Cragen here. All of this is to defend Stabler's statements of wanting to kill perps and still have the strength to keep his impulses in check. And he says, if you look at these pictures and not understand that, the problem here isn't Elliot Stabler. So, like, what he's saying is, like, if this makes you feel nothing, then you're fucked up.
And he said that to Stabler before. He was like, be worried when you start feeling nothing.
Yeah, and it's true. But then when it's like, okay, so Jeffries was not properly represented. First of all, we don't even see her representation
at all.
But because that's cut and dry and she should be fired. But it's like the dude wasn't a fucking perp or a suspect.
Yeah. Well, he was a suspect, but then
he was just being watched. He was never a confirmed suspect.
Yeah. What the fuck?
I don't know. And it's also has to do with like
women and fucking...
Well, and she obviously had some like PTSD shit after that explosion because she was all kind of off. So yeah, so Stabler gets a call at home. Again, full man tank, off the clock. So it's tank top o'clock at the Stabler home.
Which is 24/7.
It's Cragen. Stabes gets to keep his job. We all know what that means.
Jeffries is gone.
Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Squad room. It's pretty quiet. In walks a slick as shit looking iced tea, Finn Tutuola in head to toe, red, white, and black, do-rag, chain, strut, strut, strut.
Yeah.
This guy is just gliding into the squad room.
Yeah.
Cragen blows right by him as he tries to introduce himself. Jeffries greets him. Monique Jeffries, maybe I can help. Finn Tutuola, I've been reassigned. She kind of cocks her head and goes, you're here for my job. Yeah. Tutuola goes, well, this is awkward. And then Jeffries goes, try my side of things.
Yeah.
And then she walks away. But the last frame is on Tutuola like, but I want to know what the scene was supposed to entail because the laziness of the editing makes it perfect. You can see Jeffries playing with his necklace in the last scene when it's like supposed to be closing out after she's walked away.
Wait, she's playing with his necklace?
Yes. So he's got this like big long chain on. Let me paint it for you again really quick. Jeffries is like, try my side of things, walks away, camera fully on Tutuola, but then you see Jeffries' hand holding his necklace like, Oh. There was probably a version of this where she like owns him super hard and they chose this instead. Like she probably like said some awesome burn.
So she was already like gone, but then she was back.
Yeah.
I didn't catch that at all.
Right away I'm like, why was her hand like jiggling his necklace? Oh, she probably said something making fun of him.
Yeah.
And we missed it because I guess we're just done with her now because only one powerful woman can be on a show. Wait, no, ADA Cabot's there now. So now it has to be Benson and Cabot, so Jeffries has to go. Because otherwise all of their periods are going to sync up and they're going to flood New York. I have no idea how SVU became my favorite show, since there is nothing I try to avoid more than child abuse shit. Not only do I not like researching child abuse shit, trying to find details on a military case is like trying to piece together a story that you don't have all of the access to. You know what I mean? That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
U.S. Marine Daniel E. Desmit is a person who should have his dick set on fire with a blowtorch.
Okay.
That's a callback. He joined the Marine Corps in 1991 and rose to the ranks to become Chief Warrant Officer. I don't know any rankings in the military, but enlisted Marines must have served at least 8 years of active duty and have obtained the rank of Sergeant to be considered for appointment as Warrant Officer. They must be technical or tactical specialists, be recommended by their commanding officer, and meet aptitude requirements. Key skills and requirements include a strong ability to lead by example, mental and physical stamina, readiness to respond to assignments on short notice, specialized technical or tactical skills, be a U.S. citizen, have no felony convictions, and pass a drug and aptitude test. He was more specifically Chief Warrant Officer 4. Now, this rank is considered as a senior level technical and tactical expert. Their primary duty is to support brigade, battalion, division, and corps operations. So this guy's position in the Marines was like a big deal.
Okay.
Having been married twice, Desmit had 3 children. That is legit all I could find about his personal life outside of his crimes. Mm-hmm. What crimes?
What crimes, you ask?
Yeah.
I ask.
So this guy started being investigated out of what?
You're just so beautiful.
Oh my God.
And you're laughing and your cute little teeth are so perfect.
Oh my gosh, stop.
No.
Don't stop. So this guy started being investigated out of dumb fucking luck. I could go on a whole different bunny trail about this other dude, but we're just gonna plow through his piece of shit ass to get back to this other guy.
Okay.
A civilian Navy employee, David Talman, was found with thousands of sexually explicit images and video of very young kids. Because of him, investigators tracked this piece of shit's payments through Western Union to the small, poor fishing municipality of Cordova in Cebu, Philippines, where they found Eileen Ontong. Okay. The story is a web of disgusting lizard people.
Yeah.
So Ontong was considered the, quote, queen of cyber porn in Cordova. So once they found this 4-foot round little lady, like really unassuming looking woman.
Looks like somebody's aunt or something. Little auntie.
Yeah, terrible, disgusting, sociopathic aunt. So once investigators found Ontong, they began to dig deeper into her operation and found at least 20 people in the US, UK, and Australia paying for images or live shows from her. This group of worthless skin sacks included Daniel E. Desmit. In fact, he was her biggest client. He had spent over $36,000 viewing and producing child pornography from Ontong over the course of 6 or so years.
Oh my fucking God.
And I mean, that's just with this monstrous cunt. It's extremely unlikely that he just started doing this because he stumbled into the dark web and found some stupid bitch producing kiddie porn. Like, this is just what's on record for him.
Right.
I can't handle going into the details, but I will give you broad strokes so you can properly get on my level about this dude and this woman. In emails to Ontong, Desmit was found bragging about having sex with 8 and 9-year-old girls. He was planning a 2-week trip to the Philippines and making quite a few arrangements with Ontong, including detailed descriptions of the look of the kids he wanted and things he would expect them to do.
Oh my God.
He made it very clear that he would be having sex every day. He also apparently, quote unquote, directed, I'm assuming this just means webcam shit, about 80 live videos of children interacting with one another, by themselves, or being abused by an adult. You get it.
Jeez.
When interviewed, one of the children, because children were interviewed, one of the children said that they had been paid $3.41 per show. Many of the kids were brought to Ontong by their parents looking to make fast money.
Oh my God.
I know. A lot of these kids ended up being taken away from their parents and put into programs, and who knows what those programs are like. It's just fucking sad. Ontong was arrested in May of 2013 with charges including at least 30 victims, with a few as young as 3 years old.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, that's a joke.
You were on fire today. Oh my God.
No,
Holy
it's
shit.
it like makes me sick to even say. Like, I was getting really choked up reading all of this shit. I'm leaving out every fucking detail that I can't handle saying out loud.
What? How did you get? You can say how you got caught?
They found his name in her like fucking
That's right.
files. She had like a fucking Heidi Fleiss style little black book of dudes, and he was like her number one. Then they took all of her hard drives and her fucking communications, and they had all of the emails. I mean, I read all these emails that were exchanged. Fucking sick shit between this dude and fucking kitty porn coyote. Like, what would she be called? I don't know. Piece of shit.
Yeah, bitch, gross lady, puke pile, lady Mick shouldn't be alive.
Dumpster cunt. These charges included not only directing children to quote-unquote perform, but abusing them herself if that's what viewers asked for.
Her doing it too?
Yeah.
Well, obviously, of course.
Desmit pled guilty on 18 counts, including conspiracy to commit rape of a child. A military judge found him guilty on all counts and sentenced him to 144 years. After his conviction, the Marine Corps released this statement, quote, "At a general court-martial in Okinawa, Japan, Chief Warrant Officer 4, D.E. Desmit, was convicted by a military judge alone of conspiracy to commit sexual assault and rape of children, aggravated sexual abuse of a child, and possession of child pornography. The military judge sentenced the accused to 144 years of confinement, a reprimand, and dismissal." That sounds like a good end, right?
Let me guess. Guess. He gets off.
Oh, just let me,
and
yeah.
you can't find anything about him.
So this is where that military little bitch gets messy. The Associated Press had requested the investigative report in this case, and the NCIS was like, nah. And so this is, in the episode, the NCIS was something else, but in this, the NCIS is the Naval Criminal Investigative Service.
Okay.
So the report that was requested from the NCIS was a Freedom of Information Act request. I'm going to get more into that in a minute, but they actually said that if they were to release it, it would be, quote, "an unwarranted invasion of personal privacy."
What?
Question mark? Yeah. I want to walk that back. This guy was convicted of a slew of child rape and porn charges, and they don't want to invade his personal privacy.
That's not how that works for anybody else.
No. So the AP appealed, and the Navy Judge Advocate General's office overruled NCIS, and the report was released. All of the names in the 198-page investigative report were blacked out, including Desmit's name. Also this, in an undisclosed pretrial agreement, the Marine Corps had cut his prison term to 20 years.
What the fuck is going on?
They seem to forget to mention that in their brief statement. Misleading to say the least when they announced the judgment of 144 years. He won't even do the 20 if he's paroled, which he is eligible for. If he were to be charged federally, the judge has the final say, so that 144 years would have stuck and parole wouldn't be on the table for this type of crime. And according to the military justice system, he could be paroled after only serving 1/3 of his sentence. I'll do the math for you, Gabe. It's just under 7 years.
Okay. I mean,
I don't want to insult you, but I just didn't want to take all that time.
I knew what one. I knew what 1/3 was, and that's under a half, right? Or is it over? I don't know.
1/3 is under a half.
Yeah. So
1/2 goes in twice. 1/3 goes in 3 times.
into a cup, like
Yep.
a hole.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh yeah, duh.
Yeah.
I fucking slipped through the cracks so hard, dude. It's like I was being serious. I had my eyes closed.
Something I found really fucked up with the military court system overall is that plea deals happen pre-trial, just like in civilian court, but the judge is not allowed to review pre-trial plea deals. And at the end of the day, the defendant is always granted the lesser charge. So the judge doesn't know that this guy was offered 20 years for whatever the deal is, which I assume is to just plead guilty, okay? He's like, you're a sick fuck. You get 144 years. And then that's what they announce, but quietly they're like, actually, you only get 20.
Yeah.
Which might only be 7 if you play your cards right.
I don't understand because like everybody hates child molesters, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they're the ones that get fucking murdered right away in prison.
Yeah.
So why are there always so many cover-ups about it? Like,
Because it makes the military look bad. I'll get into that. Hang on. I read all this shit about the court-martial system, and some of it is like super boring, so I'll spare you on that. But basically, the federal court system is a matter of public record. You can access summaries of pretty much any case, which include the names of the convicted, date of conviction, length of sentence, and a brief description of the crime. So in the military court system, lawyers can't even get access to the motions filed in a general court-martial.
Okay.
So like public can't get it, lawyers can't get it. It's all basically sealed right away. Charges, courtroom transcripts, and pretrial agreements are only available through FOIA, the Freedom of Information Act. The Freedom of Information Act is a law that requires the full or partial disclosure of previously unreleased information and documents controlled by the United States government upon request. FOIA was intended to make government agencies more transparent so that the American public could more easily identify problems in government functioning and put pressure on Congress, agency officials, and the president to address them. You know, like a democracy would function.
Yeah, well, that's not really how things work.
Yeah.
But cute.
But cute. But like so many flawed pieces of our system, going through FOIA can be time consuming and there is no guarantee that the documents will be released at all. Oh, and there's fees with each filing, appeal, etc. To give you an idea of how specialized and fucked up that is, most federal cases are available to the public through PACER, the Public Access to Court Electronic Records System. So that means a lawyer can find shit filed. This is in federal cases. A lawyer can find shit filed 5 minutes ago in a civilian court on the internet, but trying to get information on court-martial filings takes money and time ranging from months to years to never at all.
Jesus, fuck you, America.
The lack of transparency is sus as shit. Like the whole idea of transparency in the court system is to provide accountability. So I couldn't find any information beyond 2015 about Desmit specifically, but in a disturbing twist, I found that his story is not uncommon in the military.
Of course.
Out of service members imprisoned, more are there for child sex offenses than any other crime.
Are you kidding me?
Again, yes.
Holy
this
shit.
is a hilarious joke.
Oh my
There's
God.
nothing even on the computer. I'm just like making up some fun stuff.
Oh my God.
It's like improv.
Yeah.
But for really, really bad jokes.
Oh my God. That's insane. I
know.
did not know that.
Yeah, me neither. I don't know anything about the military. So reading this stuff, I'm just like,
You'd think if like people in the military that weren't child molesters found out that somebody was, that they would just like fucking make their life a living hell.
denial is a powerful drug. I found a few different sources of military prisoner numbers, and it looks like they're exponentially decreasing. I'm like an investigative fucking journalist right now.
We're going to get fucking murdered, aren't we?
Yep. A 2006 report said that there were 1,944 inmates in military prison. In 2007, a report said that there were 1,794. By 2015, it was down to 1,233. And the most recent one I found was 2019 was 1,214.
You're saying 1,200, like these are numbers of people for just child molestation?
No,
stuff?
this is total numbers in military prison.
Oh, okay.
So it makes me curious as to why the numbers have dropped so much, considering the sketchiness of these pretrial deals and shit. Like that shit has to go hand in hand, right? Mm-hmm. It's the only thing that makes sense to me. Like in 2006, there were almost 2,000 inmates, and then 15 years later, there are 1,200 inmates. Mm-hmm. They're given these fucking deals that I don't think any criminals should get these deals. I'm not like, hey, they need to start doling out deals to the everyday child molesters, not just these fucking soldier child molesters. Oh, also I found that as of that 2015 report, 61% of military prisoners were there for sex crimes, and more than half of those were against children. We don't know that because the military court system makes efforts to shield the public from it with FOIA and all that shit.
Yeah.
A leading critic of the Pentagon's treatment of sexual assault, Senator Kirsten Gillibrand, she's a Democrat from New York, she called the AP's findings about the number of child victims alarming and disturbing. She said, quote, "There are just huge red flags and huge concerns about where justice is not being done. This is just the latest example of DOD's lack of transparency on the issue of sexual assault." Eugene Fidel, a former Coast Guard judge advocate who teaches military justice at Yale Law School and is a practicing attorney, had this to say about the state of the current system. Quote, "Transparency is crucial in democratic societies to ensure the public has confidence in the administration administration of justice, regardless of whether it's a civilian or military court. Keeping transparency at a minimum sends a signal that these cases are nobody's business. So in response to the crazy statistics of military inmates in prison for sex crimes against kids, I read that Defense Department officials are now imposing harsher prison terms. But I'm like, okay, well, what about all these fucking deals? You know? Air Force Colonel Chuck Killian, director of the Air Force Judiciary, said that since 2008, the Air Force had an 89% conviction rate on child sex crimes. He says, quote, "It's not as if there are child sex crimes being swept under the rug somewhere. We simply don't do that." Okay, maybe not, but they're definitely buried in an effort to keep them from anyone outside of the military.
Finding out about them.
Yeah.
Keeping them accountable.
Right. It's like the military doesn't want to be discredited by fucking sickos, but it's here's a quote from court records in Desmit's trial. Quote, "No one expects Marines to engage in this type of conduct. It degrades our standards and the public's perception of our service. Our foreign allies would lose respect for our service upon learning that one of our most experienced officers was involved in this type of conduct while deployed on their soil in furtherance of U.S. policy." So that basically says, yeah, we don't want anybody to know this shit because they'll lose respect for the military as a whole, like the U.S. military. So then we're just going to keep shit quiet because how many stories have you read about women being raped and assaulted and like the don't ask, don't tell bullshit that got so many LGBTQA people harmed in these situations, and then nothing gets done because they don't want that shit on record.
Right.
So I don't really have a way to wrap this up. Like I tried to look up Eileen Ontong and find out where she is. No idea. I tried to look up to find out where Desmit is. Try to find a record of fucking military inmates. Like, please do. Like, let me know. Because I couldn't find anything. So I guess at the end of this, what I found was that the military wants to say, yeah, we're really, really harsh on these crimes. That's why there's such a high number of like military employed child predators in prison. But it doesn't seem like there's really harsh sentences given when a judge wants to impose 144 years and you're like 20 will do.
Right.
At the most.
Yeah.
Also, you might be able to get paroled.
Right.
That doesn't leave me feeling confident that this person or that this crime is being looked at as seriously as you're claiming.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, totally.
It doesn't match.
Well, here's the thing that is confusing to me is if everybody hates child molesters, so that judge is like, hey, everybody, he's getting 144 years because he's a piece of trash.
The judge doesn't even know what the pretrial arrangement was, though.
Oh, he didn't know that it was like 20.
Judges are not allowed to
Oh, that's right. So
see any of that shit.
That's why I don't understand why.
Why does the military have more power than the judicial system?
Well, if they're trying to make themselves not look bad, you'd think that like they would stick with the 144 years.
Yeah.
Because it's like, hey, see you guys? Like we take care of this shit, but then like actually give the guy 20 years? Or less or none?
Or like they're not better at making deals. Like you guys are supposed to be like the best at making deals. Like sit down with this dude and his lawyer and all your piles of fucking evidence, disturbing, fucked up, disgusting evidence and go, hey man, you don't have a leg to stand on here. So you're gonna say you're guilty and we're not gonna be like, you'll be out. Because when he was on trial, he was like in his 40s. So what, he's gonna be like a fucking old child molester then when he gets out? Or like a middle-aged child molester? Will he even have to register? I didn't even look at that. I didn't even think about that till just now.
Yeah.
Will he even have to register as a sex offender? None of that was said. And all this shit is sealed. The only reason that this came out is because the Associated Press pushed for it and filed an appeal once it was denied and got this shit. Like we wouldn't have gotten this quote that I said at the end about we don't want foreign allies to lose respect for us and blah, blah, blah. You know?
It's like,
I don't feel like I'm uncovering like any incredible thing that nobody knows, but I just was getting my mind blown over and over.
Yeah.
Reading it going, this is so fucked up. It's so fucked up. I want to throw in a disclaimer really quick. Like I have friends and family that are in the military. And this is...
So do I. Fuck them.
No, because there is, like anything else, like there's a gray area of decency, but it doesn't mean that the system itself isn't fucked up.
For
you know
sure.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Like anything that I have a lot of respect for, there are fucked up elements to it. And I'm not going to pretend like things are black and white and like, well, this system is really perfect and great and awesome. Like there are flaws to every single functioning system. This is just an extremely fucked up, terrible flaw that is hurting people.
Right.
That needs to be addressed now.
Yesterday?
fucking when the military was invented, when Jesus was born. I don't know.
Yeah.
So follow us on all socials at SVU Pod. Go to our website, svupod.com, and rate and review us on Apple Podcast. Tell your friends.
Thank God nobody listens to us, or the military would fucking come and...
Yeah,
We
nobody
didn't say
cares.
anything.
Nobody cares about anything we have to say.
I know.
Love you. Bye.
Let me do it. Ticking off all the squares.
Yep.
Okay,
Oh,
so...
dick on fire. Bingo.
Oh, we got SVU. Nailed it.
I didn't IMDb this actor, but he's 25 if he's a day. Did you like that I put my belch in the last one?
Yeah, I did.
Really?
That was funny.
It grossed me out, but I did it anyway.
Why did it gross you out?
I don't know, because I'm a disgusting pig monster. It was a bad joke. It didn't work, and I'm not going to explain it. It sucks.